I'm here.
Straightforward conversations, no filters, beyond the headlines, just the facts. This is the Newsmaker. Thank you for joining Newswatch Plus. I'm Tristan Udalo. The impeachment court has sent the complaints against Vice President Sara Duterte back to the House of Representatives, raising fears of a de facto dismissal. Critics say this remand is unconstitutional as it undermines the Senate's duty to try and decide, not delay and deflect. With 18 senators backing the move and only 5 against it, the question now is this remand a virtual abandon of the sworn duty to uphold and protect the Constitution? Today's Newsmaker, former Supreme Court Associate Justice and the Commissioner of the Constitutional Commission, Justice Adolfo Azcuna. Justice, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tristan.
Okay, Justice, simulan na po natin. Under the Constitution, once the House transmit the articles of impeachment, the Senate shall try and decide by remanding the complaint to the House. So did the Senate violate that constitutional mandate, and could it be challenged in the Supreme Court?
Tristan, first we must review what happened on February 5, 2025. The articles of impeachment approved by the House by direct voting was transmitted to the Senate, but the Senate adjourned that time, did not officially receive the articles. And for 4 months, the Senate did not do anything because of the elections. Half of its members were running for the re-election, and also because there were allegedly important legislative matters to tackle even after the election. In short, it was only around the first week of June that it got around to act on the articles. And the Senate President, as presiding officer, Senate President Francis Escudero, took his oath as presiding officer of the impeachment court, later on followed by the other senators who took their oaths as senator judges, thereby constituting the impeachment court. It's around June 9. June 10, they not only constituted the impeachment court, they convened it. And after the Senate had received the articles and referred it to the Rules Committee, they tackled the articles as an impeachment court. And Senator Bato came up with a motion to dismiss the articles outright on the ground that time has overtaken it, and other grounds. But this was not accepted, and instead a replacement motion was put forward by Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, which asked that the matter be referred back to the House for certain purposes. And the purpose was for the House to attest that this is the only article of impeachment filed for the year in accordance with its rules, and also that it is willing to prosecute the articles even in the new Congress, the Senate in the new Congress, the 20th Congress. That's the purpose of the remand. And this motion to refer back or remand as for the purposes stated was approved by a vote of 18 to 5. Then the impeachment court adjourned without a specific date. So is that constitutional? At first, I didn't want to comment because this is something never happened before. Then I realized that never happened before because never was an impeachment caught between two Congresses. And to me, as I look into this happening, this is nothing but a unique and allowable procedure to ensure that the same articles of impeachment is the one tackled by both Congresses. So they refer it back. After looking at it, they refer it back to the House, and the House will refer it back to the Senate, the same articles. And then the House will also state that it is ready and willing to prosecute it in the 20th Congress. So there is a procedure for the crossover of the case from one Congress to another, something that never happened before. So the referral back is a procedure for a crossover. The important thing is the impeachment court has been constituted, it has convened, it has acquired jurisdiction over the case, and it is still on course to try and decide the case after the crossover in the 20th Congress.
Okay, just want to
That's
get
my take.
Okay, Justice. Just to, thank you for laying down the facts, yung mga nangyari po no before the Senate or the impeachment court came up with this decision. But you said this is a unique and allowable action ng impeachment court. Therefore, in your point of view, sir, there's no violation of the Constitution pagdating po sa ginawa ng Senate, ay ng impeachment court. Kasi po ito po yung ni-raise ng iba.
None. In my view, wala. This is just to make sure that the crossover is smoothly done.
Okay. But the Constitution, like what you've described, sir, yung situation ngayon is very unique because we're crossing over to another Congress. But the Constitution is silent about the remand of articles of impeachment. The only words are to try and decide. As author of that constitutional provision, is remand a decision already? Can we call it a decision already? If so, what is this? Could you consider tantamount to a dismissal or not?
No, it's not a dismissal. It's a referral back for certain purposes. And this is to assure that it's the same articles because you cannot have another within 1 year. So to make sure that there is no new impeachment article that is referred back, they make sure that there is an attestation that this is the same article you have sent to us, we send back to you, you send it back to us. So there is no violation of the rule against filing more than one impeachment within the year. That's the purpose of that procedure.
Okay.
And then, of course, the willingness to prosecute. And Tristan, I'd like to add that it is not correct to say that all we said was proceed to trial. There is a portion, the last one, last subsection, which I added when I was drafting the procedure in the Constitutional Commission. And it says that Congress shall have the power to adopt its rules to implement and enforce these procedures.
Okay.
So this unique and allowable method is part of those rulemaking power of the Senate in order to implement Article 11.
Earlier, Justice, you've mentioned about the importance of the impeachment court having jurisdiction na dahil kumilos na nga po sila because some or the public, baka may mga nagbabahala rin na because of this action, baka lalong mamatay yung impeachment trial ni Vice President Duterte. But from your point of view, Justice, do you believe na ngayon ay may kumbaga may jurisdiction na-establish na ng impeachment court yung kanyang jurisdiction dito sa kaso and may guarantee na it will move forward?
Yes, ang nangyari is merely a preparation for the crossover of the case. The jurisdiction has attached and jurisdiction, once it attaches, continues up to the end. So it was not lost. The case is not dismissed. It's still alive.
Okay. Justice, may mga nagko-comment din po na will it be self-serving for the Senate to ask the House to certify that it followed the process in impeaching the Vice President and for the 20th House to commit to pursue the impeachment case? Or some may say this is an overstep, a case of one co-equal chamber policing the other. Ganun po ba, sir?
Yes, it is not to me an overstep on the part of the Senate because it is just a formality, and also it is to ensure, as I said, that it's the same articles we are talking about. In other words, in another way of putting it, to make sure that they are talking on the same page. That time has passed, baka may papasok na bagong articles. So what? In a crossover, this is unique. In a crossover, there is an interlude, and so the unique procedure makes sure that there is no other articles. It's the same articles that was filed on February 5, adopted by the House, that will be considered by the 20th Congress. That is not an imposition. That is an insurance that the rules and the Constitution is followed.
Justice, what options now does the House have now if it decides, for example, not to return the articles of impeachment? Does that effectively dismiss the complaint? Pwede bang gawin ng House yun? Wag na nilang ibalik yung articles of impeachment?
Pwede. That is a possibility. However, that will open up new questions, whether or not they would be abdicating their role in the accountability mechanism provided by the Constitution. They have already adopted it, and therefore their only remaining task is to prosecute the case. They cannot now dismiss it. They have to continue. The case is alive, as I said. It is in the hands of the Senate Impeachment Court, and they're called upon to prosecute it. That is their task, to refer back the article and say, we are ready to prosecute this.
Okay, but if the House, Justice, for example, stands by its original complaint and resubmits it without changes, for example, is the current Congress, yung 19 po, obligadong mag-trial na ulit ngayon kasi ang last day of session ay today, or the 20th Congress obliged to proceed to the trial, or can it refuse to act on it again? Ano pong scenario kung ibalik ng House as it is yung articles of impeachment?
Yeah, well, kung ibinalik nila within the 19th Congress, it's also possible for the Senate House Impeachment Tribunal to convene again and to proceed to trial. But it's one possibility. But I think the procedure that was followed wanted to allow more a crossover because there's really no time to consider 7 charges within the remaining life of the 19th Congress.
Okay. During the course of the speech or yung mga pahayag po ng mga senator during the impeachment, convening of the impeachment court, paulit-ulit po yung naging mensahe ng ilang supporters ni Vice President Sara Duterte na senators that questioned the constitutionality or yung legality ng impeachment complaint na nakarating sa House. But just for the sake of clarity, Justice, who has the final say on whether the House may have acted unconstitutionally pagdating dito sa impeachment complaint?
Only the Supreme Court. The Senate cannot review or second guess the procedure followed by the House because the right to impeach is an exclusive right of the House. And only the Supreme Court, in its power to declare any act of any agency of government unconstitutional or abuse of discretion, only the Supreme Court can correct any mistake or deficiency in the initiation of an impeachment article in the House.
Does this case also, sir, sabi niyo po, while it's unique and allowable, also set a precedent on where questions of constitutionality are decided not by the courts?
Only insofar as it adopts a procedure,
Mhm.
and the Congress, including the Senate, is expressly allowed by Article 11, Section 3, Subsection 10, to adopt its rules to implement the procedure for impeachment and trial of cases under Article 11.
Justice, meron din po bang legal grounds for the impeachment court to dismiss a complaint even before the trial? I'm asking that because isa po sa naunang motion ni Senator De La Rosa ay i-dismiss outright yung impeachment complaint against Vice President Duterte. Kung ito ang naging desisyon ng impeachment court, may legal po bang basihan yun? Pwede nilang gawin even without a trial?
Yes, supposing in the case of Merceditas Gutierrez, the respondent resigned, they can dismiss the case. So there have been instances where, without trying, they dismiss the case, and it's possible there may be another ground, uh, failure to prosecute, for instance, could be another ground dismissing without proceeding or finishing the trial. So it's possible. It's the Senate itself, not the impeachment court, that is empowered to dismiss a case outright in certain cases.
Okay.
But the impeachment court, in my belief, can only try and decide an impeachment case, cannot dismiss it outright.
Okay.
It should be the Senate itself. Yeah.
Okay. Only the Senate can dismiss an impeachment outright, like in the case of former Ombudsman Merceditas Gutierrez. But the impeachment court should try and decide po no on the case. But since former Ombudsman Gutierrez resigned, and dito po sa situation na to, for example, ay kay Vice President Sara Duterte ay hindi naman po siya nag-resign, pwede ba rin bang gawin ng Senate yon na i-dismiss outright kung binalik sa kanila yung impeachment articles of impeachment?
Kung binalik tapos dismiss na outright, palagay ko hindi pwede because it's very clear that when the article submitted to the Senate, their only task is to try and decide it.
Mhm.
Try and decide doesn't mean dismiss without trial.
Okay. The impeachment court presiding officer, Chiz Escudero, said the court will issue summons to Vice President Duterte no matter what happens. But I guess ang tanong rin ng iba, if the articles aren't returned, what will be the basis for the summons? Or is that legally valid pa rin or just symbolic?
When the articles are sent back, I think what Senate President Escudero said, then they can issue summons. Or they can do it now because the Senate Rules Committee has a copy of the articles. So they can send a copy to the respondent for the respondent to answer. So it doesn't have to be the same original that was sent back to the House.
Justice, kung if the House of the 20th Congress chooses to continue the impeachment, does the entire process have to restart from the ground up? Or pwede na pong kung ano yung natapos ng 19th Congress ay ito yung ipagpapatuloy nila if they are still determined to pursue the impeachment case?
Again, this is subject to the rules. They can adopt rules. I would think that it would be just a continuation, especially if a lot of things have been done, evidence has been taken, for instance. It will just continue because it's the same impeachment court. It's not a new impeachment tribunal. They just adjourn to another date.
All right. Justice, as a last question, nag-post po kayo ng Facebook post nung nakaraan na, talking about itong nangyayaring impeachment, yung the delay, meron ding mga panawagan from universities, civil society groups. No? Nung nangyari na po itong convening of impeachment court, kayo po ba ay, kumbaga, nagawa na po ba ng 19th Congress yung kanilang papel as far as yung kaya nilang gawin because of the limited time, para sa inyo po ba, enough na ito na ito na yung nagawa nilang aksyon?
Para sa akin, Tristan, yes, substantially, they have complied with their task because they have convened the impeachment court and it has acquired jurisdiction over the case. And the case is, as I said, set for possibility of a trial and decision after crossover. They have set up the crossover.
All right, setting up the crossover, and that's something we will watch out for sa 20th
Yeah.
Congress. Justice or former
Yeah.
Supreme Court Associate Justice Adolfo Azcuna. Sir, thank you for sharing your thoughts and insights po dito sa interview.
Salamat din.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
And we will continue to deliver just the facts and the news you need. Until our next Newsmaker, I'm Tristan Odalo.